Прийшли окупанти до нас в Україну, форма новенька, воєнні машини, та трохи поплавився їх інвентар. Байрактар. Байрактар. Російські танкісти сховались в кущі, щоб лаптя посорбати довбані щі, та трохи у щах перегрівся навар. Байрактар. Байрактар. Зі сходу припхались до нас барани, для восстановлення великої страни, найкращий пастух баранячих отар. Байрактар. Байрактар. Їх доводи всяке озброєння, різне, ракети, потужні машини залізні, у нас на всі доводи є коментар. Байрактар. Байрактар. Вони захопити хотіли нас зразу, і ми зачаїли на орків образу, з бандитів російських робить примар. Байрактар. Байрактар. Російська поліція справи заводить, на вбивцю рашистів ніяк не знаходить, хто ж винен, що в нашому полі глухар. Байрактар. Байрактар. Веде пропаганду кремлівський урод, слова пропаганди ковтає народ, тепер нове слово знає їх цар. За нашу свободу і покажу.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for being here. All me and Mango. To anybody that watches in the future, I guess. Thank you guys for being here on some a little bit of special reportage. Today is going to be a little bit more informative rather than going over news. We're going to be going rather than updating on the war. We're going to be going over basically how Russia and Ukraine have covered or been able to get their material out. Excuse me. As far as news over the last since the beginning of the war, and how it's affected people's opinions of what's going on, and we're going to look at how the Russian propaganda works, their state media works, and we're also going to look at essentially how the Russian or the Ukrainian media has been utilizing their own footage for their own gain, and see how these things operate, as well as kind of go into the reality that we have seen with the footage of soldiers being killed or on the ground, or tanks being distributed across the road. So we're going to take a look into that, and it's going to continue for. We are going to do that for the next couple streams. Next Thursday, or this coming Thursday, is going to be the next part of this public affairs series, and we're going to focus on Western media's involvement in their or Western media's coverage of Ukraine, or the conflict or the war in Ukraine. Excuse me, the war in Ukraine as as they have done, and we're gonna look at several different outlets. I'll have a bunch of stuff for you guys. I got a little compilation now, not really a compilation, but a package now for that. So we will go ahead and continue on with that, and there's going to be more of that every week as we go along. And then also go ahead and check out the Security Monitor Lizard channel, of course, for some fun and games if you don't just like, hearing about the war. That all aside, there's a couple other things. So the charity is still open. Well, the charities are still open. They're still accepting donations. However, myself and Mango I've already done the charity event. We've already eaten the meal. It was, I'm sorry, my throat is all kinds of messed up. It was not good. It was a bad experience. I hated it. Go check it out on the main channel. I'm sure Mango will put that in the chat here in a second. But yeah, go down into the links down below and check out all the charities. They are down there, right there, and Mango has them right there as well. All right, so other than that, as far as like news on the war in Ukraine, as far as like an update, I'll probably on the next one give a short update on actually what's going on, but not in this one. I'm just going to refer you to Funker 530 and their last two streams. The last stream that they did is in the description down below, so go check that out, and you'll get some news and have a little bit more discussion on what the hell happened, what's going on over the last week or so. But tonight we're simply going to focus on how the media has been operating, and the thumbnail that I used, as I've used before, you've probably seen it before, and it's just a visual representation of how to skew the media or skew a simple visual aid in order to advance your own point. And propaganda is what buds from that, essentially. So that being said, let's get into it. I am going to put on a little bit of music for everyone, simply because I'm going to be talking a lot, and I know you guys don't want to hear my voice the entire time. But, excuse me. All right. So, all right, it is playing. So, when it comes to covering anything, honestly, as anyone can with common sense can understand, like, you have to be objective, or you can either be objective or subjective, and that subjectivity turns into, well, bias. And that's where we get Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, and these media companies are essentially run by the state. There's no arm of the government that's actually controlling them. However, there's so much influence from the different parties, or from the two parties in our government, that influences how the media portrays different actions and events. You can see this in like condemning, I mean, just watch Fox News for 5 minutes and then watch CNN for another 5 minutes, and try not to fall over dizzy on your head, because from the all of the breaking news banners and all that shit. But you can essentially see that there's a difference, but the main thing you want to look for is objectivity, and the only way you can get that is either to constantly seek out those sources that give you an objective point of view on certain subjects or certain actions or whatever the hell is going on, or you can collect all of the information, use critical thinking to find out what is actually true. And that's kind of the goal of what I'm gonna kind of go through here, because yeah, I get antsy if sodium count on food is too high. Yeah, never gonna do that again. What I'm gonna kind of show is how you have to keep an open mind when you're when you're watching these different outlets. So anyway, let's get into it. And I've collected 2 different playlists that we're going to go through, and we've seen a decent amount of these videos. Here, I'm going to put this on screen. We've seen a decent amount of these videos coming out of whatever. And you guys, like I was just talking about bias, I mean, I have the American flag and the Ukrainian flag here, and yes, you know, I do support the people who are being invaded. That's who I support. Yeah, no, that was block. So, sorry, what was I saying? I got a little distracted. Somebody had text. All right. So we've seen a lot of these videos in the past, but we haven't really gone over them. I've talked about them here and there, but we're gonna kind of go in depth, and we're gonna see them in succession, in kind of groups, and break them down a whole hell of a lot more. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. We're gonna start with the with Russian media, and we're gonna look at what they've been putting out to the Sun. We've got a decent amount of the Sun videos from Ukraine as well. So let's check out what's been given to the Sun by the Russian media. And we can go ahead and just essentially start with one of the beginning ones. Block. Yeah. There you go. All right. So, first video we got simply just a cruise missile. It's like some kind of long range missile going against U.S. weapons that were to Ukraine. And yes, it is that video over and over and over again. It's the same little bit. No, you don't actually see any of the impact. You don't see any of anything that's other than just the launch of this missile. It's like that could be for fucking training, etc., etc. We'll get to the Chechens in a little bit. Now, we're gonna go into a little bit more here, more from the Sun. We're gonna look at a couple of these. So we're outside of Mariupol. These are a little bit older. These are from the beginning of the month. So none of this, almost none of this is going to be like updated, like a breaking news information. It's just we are just looking into how the media operates. And this is during the siege of Mariupol. Right now, the defenders have surrendered, and the city has been fully taken. And the remaining defenders, have been bust out of the steel plant, and who knows what's going to happen. Doesn't look good, but thank you to them. They are heroes, and they should be recognized, each and every one of them. So anyway, so we're gonna this is the Russian army taking on the steel plant, the Azovstal steel plant in Mariupol, and it comes from Reuters. This is what's available on YouTube, by the way, so keep that in mind. So We're going to get into that in a little bit later. A little bit of a content warning. You may see, since we have watched some of these videos before, they do kind of blend together. You may see some things that are a little triggering, a little messed up. Keep in mind you were looking at combat footage, so if that's not something you want to watch, this is not the place for you. Basically just looking out. This is a Russian soldier walking along. And he kind of doesn't really look like he knows what he's doing with all of these all this ammo here. Like, I think these are all of these tubes or rockets or some kind of rocket propelled grenade or something. I think this is just, I don't know what the hell this is. Fused to something maybe, but yeah, he looks like he's just sort of looking around at everything. We got his new Legion patch. He's got he's just sitting in a gamer chair with this AK. He's been sitting out. Okay. Got the waffle top. I agree, sir. I agree with the waffle top. Not sure reason for being there. I notice they're not talking to any of these people. There's not like a whole lot of interviews or anything like that. Okay. Really, it's just a lot of B-roll. Shows their actions, it just shows what they're doing. Like, you know, this is the kind of stuff that I would make a story out of rather than this being the actual story. I understand that, you know, it's the Sun, they gotta put everything out. And I have tons and tons of these videos that are essentially just the same thing. Just B-roll. It shows that they did an action. It doesn't necessarily show where. It doesn't show any of the targets being destroyed. It doesn't show what actually happened. However, if we go into our Ukraine playlist and we actually go into some of what's coming out of Ukraine on their news, we can see that there is very clearly actions being taken by the Ukrainian military. So when we talk about, you know, casualty numbers and stuff like that, and who to trust in the media and everything during this war, this is one place to look at, is just this difference between what is and isn't available out there. Now, is there combat footage from the Russians available? Absolutely. I can't show it on YouTube because, well, hey, I got a bunch of this shit from YouTube and their rules have changed. I can't show a lot of the Russian stuff because it comes from, well, Funker 530, and it's not something that's you know, is available here, so I'm not going to run the risk of playing it. However, if you want to go to Funker 530 and check that out, yes, there is plenty of this similar combat footage. However, this same combat footage is not being displayed on, you know, Russian TV. This is a Ukrainian source. So, and we will see similar videos on this channel is called Espresso. There's Ukrinform, and these are funded. Okay, partially. Sometimes they are funded by the Ukrainian government. So if you can understand the language, take it with a grain of salt. But you can see that the combat footage is there, and it's clear that it's either Russian or Ukrainian forces being engaged. So it goes to show that if they're willing to show like, hey, look what we're doing, but the Russians aren't willing to show anything that they're doing, then it lends credence to the numbers and the figures that the Ukrainians are putting out, as opposed to what the Russians are putting out, simply because they refuse to show their evidence. And if you've watched any of the main channel, you understand about evidence. So gonna be a long week on that one. And yes, am I advocating for gruesome violence on TV or anything like that? No, absolutely not. Okay, this is from Ukraine Leaks. That's more just someone trying to capitalize on combat footage being available. All right, we're gonna check these out. We're gonna check out a couple from the Sun, and then we're gonna check out a couple from. We're gonna check out a couple from the Sun. Yeah. Actually, yeah, we'll do that. We'll check out a couple from the Sun for this, and see how what's being released to the Sun by the Ukrainians, and see what they're able to broadcast, and then we'll get into more of the state-run media a little bit after that, and later on, and probably like part 3, we'll get into like civilian reporting on both sides and see everything that's been going on. So let's see. All right. There was one specific. So we've got an actual reporter from the Sun. Oh, hold on.
We're at the scene of yet another Russian rocket strike on Kharkiv. Behind me is the crater where one of the rockets landed in the ground. Behind that, damage to a building. Above it, another flat's been destroyed, and round the corner, there are flats on fire. We thought there'd been something of a lull, but once again, the relentless bombardment that Kharkiv has faced really since day one of the war, it's underway again.
Dope. Love it. So now, as you can see, there's a decent amount more action going on in this, but it's shot more like an actual news story. Shot actually more like a news story than it is. You have a reporter there, someone is actually telling you what the hell's going on, rather than just showing you the actions that are happening after the fact, or folks blindly firing into the distance. All right, we'll go on that. We'll do one more from the Sun, from Ukraine, and then we'll go back into a little bit into our Russian state media. Let's see. Not that one. There was one more from the Sun that I read. Okay. Okay, let's check this out. So this is similar to what we had last time, which it's basically just B-roll.
29,99.
Oh, this is Russians. My bad.
38.
We're at the scene of yet another.
Okay, those were Russians. My bad. I was an idiot. And we've seen this video before. You are going to see the... awesome. My favorite Russian TikToker gamer is still dancing to the hot dog song. Sweet. And I want hot dog. I want some carnitas. I can't wait to eat after this. Anyway, folks. So we've seen this video before, and this was provided to the Sun. Again, what we can see is this is an observation drone that's shelling the Russians. Okay. Now, is this is similar video available on the internet of the sides being reversed? Absolutely. Yeah, go fuck yourself. The issue is when only one obviously when only one side is able to provide something like this, some more dramatic evidence on their on the platform, then we have an issue, and you have to go out and seek out the other side's evidence that's similar to this with combat footage, etc. But that it's not hard to find. It's the problem is a lot of it's dramatized. Some of it's like pretty clearly fake, and it doesn't jive with the numbers that are actually going through. Ooh, excuse me. The numbers that are being shown with each side. So there's a lot of different aspects that go into watching this shit. So watch this for just a second more, and then we'll go back into Russian state media. And it's pretty much just these guys are, I mean, they're pretty well fucked. Because they just have an observation drone watching their every fucking move. And those artillery shells, when they come in, I don't think those were 155 shells. I don't know what exactly those were, but they throw shrapnel all over the fucking place. Not only that, but they throw whatever else is on the ground all over the place. And then when you're standing next to somebody and that shrapnel hits you, it can bounce off of you, or it can blow your fucking bones apart and throw that into the other person. The same thing goes, or the same principle applied in the Civil War. That's where a lot of infections and amputations ended up coming from. Was people getting hit with bone splinters because of the large caliber bullets and cannon shells that came in and would just hit people and blow them apart and throw bone splinters from one person into another, and whatever diseases they had would, go into that person. And unfortunately, that's where you lose a leg, an arm, or whatever, because back then it was easier to just cut the fucking limb off than it was to, actually treat it, because we didn't have the technology that we have today. Basic fucking history. All right. So we've seen we've seen a little bit of this, and we've seen how, the Sun, what kind of information has been provided and what's available on YouTube from both the Ukrainians and the Russians. I would say the Russian government, because I feel like a lot more of this is of what's going to come out of Ukraine is going to be provided not necessarily by the government, but it's going to be, provided to the government rather than there's not going to be as much of a filter. Is kind of what I'm trying to say, as opposed to the Russians, who have invested, who are invested in this, they're the ones who invaded. They have to make sure that everybody's on their side. So, hey, if you're gonna throw a punch and nobody's on your side, well then you're gonna look like an asshole if you don't fucking have some kind of accomplishment after that. So that's just kind of where propaganda comes into play, and where where state media plays a part. And at some point, maybe we'll talk about the U.S. state media, all of the influences that go into like CNN, MSNBC, Fox, whoever, all of those influences that actually turn into broadcast news. But we'll do that in the future. Anyway. All right. Excuse me. So we're going to look at a couple of these headlines, and I'm going to read just maybe one of these articles for you guys. So sorry to scroll around. All right. So this is one that I saw, and it's an op-ed, so take everything with a grain of salt. It's an opinion article, essentially. The U.S. is using Ukraine to ramp up Taiwan tensions, but China is unlikely to fall into Washington's trap. Again, Russia and China are far closer, are better allies militaristically than the U.S. and China are, whereas the U.S. and China are linked more economically. And this is a real fear that the Chinese are going to use Russia's similar justification for the invasion of Ukraine to go after Taiwan. However, the response from the rest of the world to Russia's invasion of Ukraine was not good in any sense of the world, sense of the word. Excuse me. Pretty much the entire world was like, yeah, we're gonna give weapons to the Ukrainians and fight this shit off. And it got to the point of nuclear threats, and even China backed off and had to put out a statement after Russia attacked one of the nuclear plants in Ukraine, because that's just one that breaks down the infrastructure of the entire country. You can't get power to people, and two, it's a fucking nuclear plant, and it could you could essentially set off a secondary Chernobyl, which is also in Ukraine, and you would have a even larger portion of the country that would become uninhabitable, and you would have to regrid the entire fucking country based off of how you would get power after that. So it's just not a smart thing to do. But when it comes to Taiwan has been a very contentious piece of land for the Chinese government. They recognize it as Chinese land. They don't consider Taiwan, like the Taiwan government, legitimate, and they really want that territory to the point that they've been gearing up with sorties of I don't know, I think it's like 10 planes at a time or some shit like that. They've been doing shit like, I think the largest number I saw was like 97 flybys of aircrafts to the island, which is like I have no idea how many. I'm not in Air Force, so I don't know how much that would be, but even if it's 2-3 aircraft, that's a lot of like patrolling. It's just constant fighter jets over the area, and fighter jets also have backup with radar, all kinds of other fucking shit like that. So just keep that in mind. And they have threatened with China has threatened biological weapons. They've threatened chemical weapons as well in the past to use on Taiwan, and who knows what the Chinese government is capable of because of how secretive that they have been forever. Do not trust the Chinese government. And no, I'm not going to entertain any fucking COVID bullshit. Get the fuck over yourselves. COVID is not over. It's a worldwide pandemic. Killed millions of people. get vaccinated, get boosted, stop being a dickhole. There you go. Anyway, moving along. So, got a couple more headlines we're going to look at, and then we're going to look at one of these, go into one of these articles. All right. This is actually the one I wanted to look at. So we'll check this out. So Russia warns of mounting threats to its security. So it says Russia will form 12 new military units in its west to face a growing threat from NATO. Sergei Shoigu said, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Anyway. Yeah, it was. So this has been kind of the theme. This is the reason, part of the reason that Russia invaded Ukraine in the beginning, because they were worried about their security. And they were worried about, they wanted to denazify the country because they were so worried about all the Nazis because of, the stains of World War II are still all over Europe. So the Russians were like, okay, well, we need to make sure that doesn't happen again. And all they did was basically do what they were trying to stop. And it really hasn't turned out very well for them. And when they invaded Ukraine, obviously, like I said, tons and tons of other countries around the world were like, no, that's not cool. We can't have you doing that. We're going to send weapons to Ukraine and everything like that. Finland and Sweden, I believe, want to join NATO. Ukraine is still trying to join NATO, I believe, if they have not already. And, that surrounds Russia, that contains Russia, if that's where you want to go. But it has it does have an effect. And, I could understand that, like, hey, all of these alliances around our country is just like, hey, look, we don't want that. That's not cool. We don't want to be surrounded. That makes sense for a sovereign nation not to want to be surrounded by a alliance of other nations with, different militaries and as well as a single military that they can use on their own. Or that they can use collectively, rather. So Russia is using that small fear to boost their propaganda and say that, hey, look, we're just trying to, keep our nation sovereign. We're trying to keep everybody out who's not like Russian. We just want to have Russians and all that good shit. So we're gonna have it here, and the invasion of Ukraine from Russia can kind of be likened to Hitler's invasion of Poland. I'm not going to continue at any point to compare Putin to Hitler. I don't believe that there are the big enough similarities to call him Putler at this point. But essentially, he's going for breathing room. He's saying Russia needs breathing room. We need to make sure that we have the ability to stage our troops in our own defense and make sure that we have plenty of Russian resources and Russian people and all this other good shit. And they're using that to justify their war and the war crimes that are coming out of it. And we're going to see in just a second. Oh, sorry, excuse me. The pollen in the air is actually kind of really getting to me. So I might have to go like wash my face here in a little bit. All right. So so we're going to read through this article a little bit and then let's see how long it is. Okay, this is a very short article. So anyway, all right. The U.S. and NATO have gradually ramped up their activities along Russia's western borders over the past few years, and tensions continue to grow. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said, it's written very weirdly. The minister made the remarks during a meeting of the National Defense Management Center in Moscow on Friday. I'm wondering if RT uses the AP style book, because this is like written. There's no quotations. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not gonna dwell on it. Like, I have no idea what the fuck's going on. Anyway, apart from intensifying strategic activities, the U.S.-led NATO bloc has also gradually increased training exercises near Russia's borders. Shoigu pointed out. He noted that currently a series of exercises called the Defender of Europe is being conducted, involving up to 40,000 military personnel from 30 countries of the bloc. Redeployment of a full-fledged division force from the U.S. to Europe has been the main feature of the drills, he added. So, I'm going to read that one more time. Redeployment of a full-fledged division force from the U.S. to Europe has become the main feature of the drills, he added. So, what they're trying to say here is this Defender of Europe exercise, and these fucking exercises always have these cheesy ass names. And if you go into any of the information in them, like, oh, we're gonna use Route Eagles and then go to Route Packers, and it's always like fucking sports teams or some dumb shit, or like cars or fucking some chud bullshit. But sorry, that's just an aside. Something that always fucking annoyed me. Anyway, so it's going to involve a shitload of people. 40,000 military personnel from 30 countries it sounds like a significant amount, and it is a significant amount, but really, honestly, it's not that much as far as like a military exercise goes. And a lot of things are going to fuck up. A lot of things are going to go okay. And it's essentially just a way to figure out how to defend, because if they're doing a defensive posture in these exercises, then yeah, they have to figure out exactly, the best way to do it, and figure out where the shortcomings lie, and do it again next year, so that they can figure out how to make sure that the Russians can't fucking come over the border, essentially. And a lot of countries, like North Korea, loves every single year, the U.S. and South Korea do war games and drills on the South Korean-North Korean border. And every year, North Korea saber rattles and says, fuck you. They're gearing up to just attack us, and that's what's going on. And this is essentially the same thing. It's like using someone else's mobilization, whether it's for training or whatever, or offense, then you can use that mobilization to say, hey, look what they're doing. They're putting all their troops on our fucking border, when in reality it's just like, hey, we're moving 1,000 tanks along the border to figure out if 1,000 tanks could move along the border in a nuclear fucking attack. I'm not saying that's what's going on, but hey, things are ramping up, and the more that this rhetoric is used within Russia, the more people in Russia will believe it, and they will give support to the government, and the more things could escalate. All you got to do is get enough people stroking Putin's cancer-ridden dong to have him start throwing nuclear weapons. All right. Therefore, tensions continue to grow over the past 8 years, the intensity of U.S. strategic bomber flights in Europe has increased some 15 times, Shoigu said. Visits of American ships armed with guided missiles to the Baltic Sea have become a systematic occurrence. This year alone, they have visited suspected cruise missile launch they have visited suspected cruise missile launch zones off the coast of Kaliningrad region 6 times already. So what he's saying is U.S. ships have gotten within cruise missile range of the Kaliningrad region at 6 different periods since 2016. 24 events have been detected. So a decent amount of times. It's not, and that's not something to fucking just shake a stick at. As we've seen in combat footage before, those cruise missiles can actually do a shitload of fucking damage. But again, Russia does this shit all the fucking time with the US as well. You won't really hear a whole hell of a lot about this from US news because it's a shitty thing to do. The Russians always we're always invading airspace or fucking sea space or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Ask Billy. We're always invading anyone else's fucking borders, and it just happens all the fucking time. And it's an easy way to get people riled up, essentially, just to have a ship be like, oh, they put their warship close enough to our border they could launch missiles, and it's like, yeah, we did. We didn't launch any missiles because we were just like sitting there waiting for a cargo ship to pass through a different lane or some fucking dumb shit. I don't know. All right. By the end of this year, Russia will form 12 new military units in the Western Military District to face the growing threat from the U.S.-led bloc. Shoigu said, again, saying it's the U.S.-led bloc. Whether or not the U.S. leads this is up there. What's going on, Cad Monkey? Folks. The official did not provide any details on the size or exact nature of the new units, which is pretty standard for any military operation. You're not going to give the size of whatever. Fun little story from myself being public affairs. That's so sweet. Good land. Me and my supervisor had to escort around these guys that were doing a documentary on this newspaper. What is it called? It's everywhere. I can't believe I'm like blanking on this. Anyway, it's a newspaper that's on post. It's all over the fucking place. I for whatever reason wanted to say like the Patriot Star, but that's not it at all. But Mango probably knows. But anyway, they were doing a story on this newspaper and like how it actually affects soldiers, and it is actually a very useful thing for a lot of people because hey, you can't like it's delivered literally fucking everywhere. They'll give it to combat zones in the middle of fucking nowhere. And you can get some news from, all over the world. So, they started asking questions about like, oh, hey, what's it like in Kuwait and what's this place like? We're, give them general observations. And, one of them goes, hey, like, so like, how big is this place? Like how many soldiers are typically here? And me and my supervisor immediately just like looked at each other and we're like, no, we don't give that information. We can't do that. Like, just know that it's big enough when we have people here. That's all you need to know. And then we just kind of stopped answering a whole lot after that. So, it does make a lot of sense. You don't give away troop numbers ever. It's just a fucking, I mean, that's one of the main reasons why you collect the dead is because you don't want the enemy to come by, wherever you were and find out how many they killed or how many your element was. And if they knew the size of your element and they, find out how many were killed or wounded, then they can make a strategic decision off of that. But anyway, I digress too much. The minister also noted that the quote-unquote immediate neighbors of Russia, Finland and Sweden, have formally applied to NATO membership, further contributing to the growing tensions. The two Nordic nations lodged their bids this week, yet faced opposition from Turkey, a major NATO nation, which claims that Sweden and Finland both harbor people it deems to be terrorists, naming members of the outlawed Kurdish Workers' Party, the PKK. Now, there's a whole fucking... we go super deep into Turkey and Kurdistan. Long live Kurdistan. Fuck you, Turkey. You suck ass. Anyway, so basically, Kurdistan is not recognized as a country by the United States. A major thing. And Donald Trump did this. He was like, we're not going to recognize Kurdistan, even though the Kurds have helped out the United States for decades. Like, they were essentially almost wiped out by Saddam Hussein, and when we went in and actually invaded Iraq, we helped out the Kurds, and the Kurds helped us in Iraq. And as we can see through the future, what the fuck happened. But that does not mean we needed to turn our backs on Kurdistan, and doing so effectively made them it weakened Kurdistan quite a goddamn bit, because we didn't give them the aid that they needed. So Turkey is going to use that, obviously, to say that, hey, they're the Kurdish folks that are in there, they're terrorists. We need them extracted so we can interrogate them, find out exactly what's going on. What they mean is just essentially probably torture them and then execute them for whatever crimes they deem them guilty of. But I continue. The expansion of NATO and the alliances of military buildup in Eastern Europe has been reinvigorated among the Russian offensive in Ukraine, launched in late February. Apart from Sweden and Finland seeking to join the bloc, Poland has expressed a readiness to build permanent military installations, to house light infantry units to the alliance, and that basically means they're willing to stage troops. The same thing Belarus does for the Russians. Moreover, the three Baltic nations, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, are reportedly pushing for the creation of a rapid deployment division-sized force of some 20,000 troops. The unit will be placed on standby and be ready for deployment to any of the countries should they face a threat of any sort. So there's a lot of mobilizations going on, and reading through this article, this is pretty fucking scary. So all of these different mobilizations, creating new units, those units are going to need a lot of equipment. There's a lot of shit going on, and it should be watched. However, the reason Russia put out this short article that was actually kind of confusing to read. Physically read. The reason they put out this article is to make sure that anybody that goes to RT is like, oh shit, when they see the headline, well, it's a threat to its security, that all of these different, 40,000 military units, 20,000 military, or 20,000 troops, the immediate neighbors of Russia are formally applying to NATO. They're trying to rile people up. And you can see down here in the comments, it says, I think that NATO and USA wait for Russia to get weak. I hope that Russians never do that mistake. If I were the Russians, I would covertly, with no trace to back them, sink on the latest American aircraft carriers. Negative feedback is necessary. These people are essentially clamoring for World War III. They really, really want this shit to fucking go down. And a lot of the people who buy into this Russian propaganda, the Russian state media do have similar thoughts to even myself back when the war in Iraq started, of, hey, we just got attacked, we need to go over there. Well, Russia never actually got attacked. They were just like, we're gonna go over there and we're gonna fuck these people up and make sure that we don't get attacked. We're gonna be preemptive about it because we saw what happened, 70 years ago. So we have to make sure that that doesn't go through. That doesn't happen to us again. All right, so we can see our Russian state media has. Sorry, I gotta use the latrine here in just a second. Has a decent focus. Obviously, they have a focus on their own security, but they have a focus on making sure that obviously people support what the hell is going on, but the way that they're doing it is by essentially scaring people. It's using if it bleeds, it leads, kind of. It's kind of the same way our own media works, but ours is not officially state run. That's kind of the difference. So, all right. Ooh, that's not the one.
We're at the.
All right. So, in just a second, I'm going to go ahead and play some stuff and then use the latrine, and I will be right back, and we will go over Ukrainian state media and finish this up, and I will, and then we'll be out of here. Give me just a couple seconds, and I will be right back, folks. I will be right left. All right. Kablamo. All right. Sorry about that. I just really had to fucking go to the bathroom. So, all right. Oh, oopsie. So we're gonna check out some what we can see on Ukrainian television, some of the reporting coming out of the Ukrainians as opposed to the Russians here. So we can see a Russian tank. Obviously got hit. It's wild. This actually comes from RT. That's fucked. We're gonna go off of espresso. And that, knowing that, we're gonna go off of espresso and go to, there we go. All right. This is gonna be pretty messed up.
We managed to.
Hold on. You guys are distracting me. We're looking for Ukrainian form. There you are. Okay. All right. Fallout stream, you name the time, I'll be there. Dude, I gotta set a day aside for that shit. That's gonna, dude. I would absolutely love to do a Fallout stream, and I will 100% send you a fucking link. So yeah, for your, I guess I'll just have to make it happen. I guess. Department of Redundancy Department. All right. So we're gonna check out Ukraine Forum because Ukraine Forum is funded in whole or in part by the Ukrainian government, so we can see, what is actually being put out by, Ukrainian funded, government funded TV. And as you can see, it's pretty much what we've seen. It's pretty much combat footage. And I'm going to tell you guys right here, this dude over here that hit the fucking gas and left, that's the right thing to do. This guy that stopped and pulled over, don't do that. If you have the opportunity to get the fuck out of here when something like that happens, you hit the fucking gas. You get the fuck out. That is a massive explosion. No, I feel bad. No, don't worry about it. No, you, me, Wanderer, bunch of other people want to fucking jump in on that. So yeah, I'm gonna make it happen. But yeah. So this is just obviously just some combat footage. This is a horrible strike. Not 100% sure what exactly it was that hit this building, but it looks like a missile strike. That just absolutely devastated this shit. And these people got out of their car and they are just running for their lives. I understand they're terrified. Do not get out of your car and do that. I will save that. God. Okay. View videos. Got a couple more. So we got some more reporting on the ground. We've got a lot of combat footage. We've got some happy stuff, but in most of what we get coming out of the Ukrainian government is something you're not really going to see out of the Russian government, out of RT and everything like that. There's one thing that's missing from RT and the Russian coverage: results. Anytime we have seen this combat footage, anytime we've seen anything coming out of the Ukrainian government, you're going to see the results. Like I said, Now, whether or not this was, this is confirmed as a Stinger missile striking what I'm guessing is like an Orlan drone, an observation drone taking it out. Whether or not this is 100% real or not is up to you to decide. However, you can see the actual results. They fired the missile, it hit a target, and here is the target on the ground. It does look like an Orlan drone. From what I've seen of them, just the
Кацапські там
shape.
поцілили скільки? 2 Орлана
Really?
дали? 2 Орлана Стінгером. І хлопці, що приїжджали з Перуном, Перуном теж зробили 1 Орлана.
Yo, what up, J. Trudeau?
Він появляється на струмневі.
Збити практично нереально.
What are you saying to her?
Вони ховаються, що літаки працюють на граничних дистанціях.
Oh, one more thing. This young lady right here. Anybody that says women can't join the military, go fuck yourselves, because pretty much every single one of those assholes is shut up at this point.
Практично нереально.
Вони ховаються, що літаки працюють на граничних дистанціях, тобто от максимально, де, оскільки летить його ракета, от з такої відстані він робить її пуск. Звичайно, про жодну прицільність тут мови не йде. Куди влучила, туди влучила. Гелікоптери противника намагаються працювати на гранично низьких висотах, використовуючи певні складки місцевості, але і на...
I can't understand a word he's saying, but we're going to check out one more little bit, and then we're going to look at some of their a little bit more reporting. This is what I was looking for. This is exactly what I was looking for. Yeah. Excuse me. Ooh. All right. Okay. So, yeah, we're not gonna play that one. So anyway, so you guys can see, in this video there's this there's a lot of production. It's telling you who produced it, and there's music. It's high speed and everything like that. And we've seen a couple of these. I thought I had one in the ready, but apparently I don't have it in my playlist. That's my mistake. But it's very common video of this tank firing into a Ukrainian city. Hang on one second. Let me see if I can find it. I should have had this all prepared, but no, not that one. It's not that one. It's no. It's very, very common one. It's actually kind of funny. This video. Nope. We're almost there. I can feel it. All right. So we could see the what was going on in this video was obviously we saw a bunch of combat footage. We saw the Ukrainians doing damage, dealing damage to the Russian invaders, and they happen to they put music to it. You're like, well, obviously this is gonna, well, it just shows that they're, doing all of this shit for propaganda. No, that's extremely fucking common. No, don't tell me what to do. No, I thought I have it in my Ukraine playlist, and I thought I moved it over to the Russia one, but I don't have it in the Russia one, so I don't know where to find it in my Ukraine playlist. So I have to go all the way back to my Ukraine playlist, which I don't want to do, which I'm gonna have to do. But anyway, it doesn't necessarily matter too terribly much, simply because of the idea behind it. You're basically all you want to do is make sure that your side has, looks the most badass. You want to get people to, say that, to be talking about your weapons, to be like, oh yeah, they're fucking people up. And these videos, they come out all the fucking time, and god damn you. And these are actually videos that I produced. These are similar videos that I produced when I was public affairs in the military. And when it comes to like really trying to impress somebody, what you want to do is show your weapons. So this one is simply just a new projectile, a new kajigger, a new weapon system. So I was like, why can't I think of this? A new weapon system. And this is a regular 155 shell. It looks like. I'm not 100% sure what caliber this is. But then we gotta boom, add in some badass music, some high-speed shots, and this is actually pretty goddamn impressive. And all this other shit, just to make sure that everything looks totally dope. And that's pretty impressive. It's essentially the exact same thing. It's not necessarily propaganda. It's just showing results of what you've done. It's showing the soldier's story is what we were told to tell people what we were doing. And it shows you where your tax money is going. All of these videos, you have to just do this. Just mute them. Take out the music. Just look at what's going on, what you're actually getting, what the information is, and all of the information that's going to be down here in the description when you're watching things like that. And all of these outlets, whether they're U.S. based, whether they're Ukrainian or Russian, it doesn't necessarily matter. They're going to have these fucking high-speed videos that go out and show, oh, we're badass, we're doing these things. And what Russia continuously is doing is taking these like training videos, essentially, where they're landing in safe places, and they're just doing conducting an exercise and making it look like they're actually doing something, when just a slightly keen eye can tell you that there's something quite off about what they're actually presenting. And a lot more of that can be seen in the Chechens as well. So whenever you see some Chechen military video coming out, and I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if this is shot through someone's like scope or anything. I don't know what the deal with this fucking video is. I don't know if this is shot through someone's scope or if this is just an effect, but it's really bad. It's really weird. Yeah, it's definitely shot through someone's scope. And you can see yeah, it looks cool. It's like badass and whatever. But this is what a lot of the Chechens have been doing, and it seems like they're just taking resources from Russia and being like, oh yeah, we're gonna go fight, but they just sort of show up, do their TikTok videos and all this other good shit, and then they don't actually do any real fighting. They just sort of pick up after the fact. Because who knows what they're actually even shooting at. It's definitely not a vehicle. It kind of looks like they just lit a field on fire. Honestly. But yeah, so woo. Change some of the because yo, Russians are going old school on the 2500. They captured. They showed. Yeah, that's if that's what you think, you're wrong. Well, actually, the last time the Russians showed something new was about a month ago when they annihilated Ukraine's huge training center in Lviv with their Kinzhal missile that U.S. cannot intercept. I don't know. It wouldn't take a whole hell of a lot for the U.S. to figure out how to intercept it. But yeah, I like that you're going with this GT 500, but I'm sorry, that's not how things are. And anyway, but it doesn't necessarily matter. Are there like Nazis and everything in Ukraine? Of course, absolutely. Just like there are in Russia and the US and all over our different militaries. So if that's the justification you're going to use, you need to be hard pressed to actually show something that says that. I guess that the country with that got invaded that has the Jewish president is just filled with fucking Nazis. But anyway, the point of this is not to deal with this, not to deal with that, but the whole point of this, and as I'm gonna go on into different parts of this, is to actually show where the propaganda lies and where the truth kind of lies, and how you can actually pick things apart yourselves and be able to understand, like, hey, there's like I have to think about this objectively a lot more, or I have to think about this side a lot more, or I didn't realize that this side, was doing that to actually further their cause. And I didn't realize that some of these things hit so close to home, because a lot of these things is where our U.S. media operates. This is how our media operates. And yeah. J. Trudeau, these Ukraine Nazis use a symbol from a group that betrayed Hitler and helped the French resistance. They are, as far as I know, as a battalion, which is essentially gone now, is not like they are like white supremacists. So there is that point. However, comma space, the Ukrainian constitution like guarantees freedom of speech. So they're in a unique position in which like they could be absorbed into the military. But anyway, they just use that consult to send a message to the U.S. and the Pentagon that it flies 10 times the speed of sound and can deliver nukes. Pentagon said it's invisible and too fast for radar systems. Cool. Yeah. So, are you clamoring for a nuclear war? Is that what you want? Because that's not what I want. Because all I want to do is make sure that people understand that that's the last thing that's should be on the fucking table. And if you're worried about Nazis anywhere, you might want to look around at the folks you hang around with, considering what you're talking about, or considering your rhetoric rather. But I'm not going to say that, you know, I support every Ukrainian. I'm not going to say Ukraine is some bastion of fucking freedom and, you know, whatever or anything like that. But if you're going to call anybody Nazis, I would say it's more along the lines of you know, I'm not even going to go there because I feel like you're baiting me. Anyway, I'm going to give it a couple seconds for this guy to respond, and then I want to get out of here because I have carnitas in the crock pot and I want to go eat them. I'm hungry. All right. But anyway, so boop. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. That was part one, where we just took a look at what was going on both sides, whether it was state media or what was being provided to Western media. And this time we used the Sun. Excuse me. The next time when we go into looking at Western media, what we're going to be looking at is a whole hell of a lot more of U.S. and U.S. media, i.e. the big ones, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, as well as things like BBC. We're going to look at some French news and everything like that, German news, to see how these things are being covered in the West, and how that's kind of informing other people's opinions. And you know, GT, I might come off as a little, you know, combative. However, thing is, like, I do actually appreciate it, because you coming in here actually shows it gives a little bit of insight into how what information is available and what information is being processed by different people. So you're more than welcome, as long as you keep the bullshit to a minimum. That goes for literally anybody that comes in here. Don't take it personally, but anybody, by all means. And hey, if you have anything, no, I'm just telling you how it is. This isn't Libya or Iraq or Afghanistan. The UK is dealing with US is used go into small and weak countries and then feel proud how mighty powerful. Okay, I think you need to GT. I think you need to put down the vodka before you type. So, but yes, and I've explained this many times before, and the fact that we have to avoid an international conflict between the United States and Russia, because this is only going to escalate into a nuclear war and World War III and things that we don't actually fucking want. So if you think that you want to support Russian aggression, then you want to support essentially World War III, go fuck yourself. Perhaps we can reach an agreement where we get to the point of, hey, Ukraine is a sovereign nation and the Russians had no right to invade them, and then we can figure out who's Russian and who's Ukrainian after the fact and be like, hey, let's figure out who can live where and how we can live a little bit peacefully. Maybe we can do that. I doubt it, but hey, maybe that's something to work towards, rather than, well, just shaking our fucking dicks at each other. Because hey, I was in the U.S. military. Like, we were damn near invincible. We could shake our dick at anybody. We'd shake our dicks at Russia. Russia can shake their dicks at us. Doesn't mean anything's gonna come of it. Pun intended. Anyway, that all being said, Thursday, please look out for the next episode, the next part of this series, and it's going to be looking at Western media again. We're going to be looking at Western media, and again, we're going to be checking out how things have influenced people here in the United States. I'm going to try and get some like comments and everything about from people in different places, just to get an idea on like the general population, like the civilian population, see what they think, as well as finding out what the talking heads have to say. Russia, in my opinion, the U.S. doesn't want any part of fighting against Russia, and no, I don't want war, but it keeps escalating. Right. Yes, it does. It's not that it's escalating because Russia continues to escalate the war. They refuse to back down from the fact that they did the wrong thing. They invaded a sovereign nation. Okay. Now I'm not defending the United States invading Iraq or Afghanistan. No, I'm not. I'm saying Russia needs to fucking own up because the entire world is against them. This isn't Iraq and Afghanistan where the U.S. had a shitload of allies and we went in there, fucked everything up, rebuilt a little bit of it, let ISIS come in, fuck everything up, and then now we're just sort of rebuilding a little bit of it while everybody forgets and we focus on Ukraine. That, like, I don't understand what you want. It's not, the point is to stop it from escalating. It's not to just sit here and be like, oh, look what they did. Look what they. Who gives a fuck what new weapon got rolled out? How about this? Feed your people. There you go. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. I will GT, if you are more than welcome to come back next time. I will be here Thursday and we'll talk about Western media. Until then, check out the main channel, Security Monitor Lizard, where we talk about like the internet drama and all that bullshit. And if you want to, get into some bad cooking, check it out. Other than that, I will see you guys later, and I'm gonna play you guys out with the Ravenous Bean. Why don't we do that? There we go. Yeah, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. I'll find this eventually. There it is. Take care, folks.
A million other empty at a time for batteries continue. Just like they say. Little fucking player, about 10 little not to sizzle. A sight to